Now, the Art Lewis Show on News Radio 790 WSGW.
Well, good morning and welcome to another edition of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. We have a Friday morning and a very special guest in studio with us this morning. He's been to Poland over the summer. He's announced the rehabilitation of the cathedral here in the Catholic Diocese in Saginaw, and lots more going on too. And we are pleased to say good morning to Bishop Joseph Cistone. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Art. Nice to be with you always.
Good to see you. He's always smiling. I love it. I love it. All right, let's start with Poland because that happened earlier this summer. You were there for the youth, weren't you? What was that about?
Yes, the Pope John Paul II began these World Youth Days. Currently now they happen every 3 years, and this year it was in Krakow, Poland. I'd never been to Poland myself, and so we sent about 45 individuals from the Saginaw Diocese, mostly young people, but a couple of priests and adults to chaperone. And they were there for a trip of maybe 10, 12 days, but I could only be there for 4 myself. I was there when the Pope was there. And every 3 years they gather the youth from around the world and celebrate their faith. And I'll tell you, it's an overwhelming experience to see all of these young people. At the one evening when I was there for the evening of prayer before the main Mass, and the Holy Father was present for that, for the Holy Hour, there's over 1 million people in this field, mostly young people, and you can hear a pin drop. You see these young men and women on their knees, silently praying, engrossed in everything. But it's just a heartwarming kind of experience. The next day there was I think over 2 million people for the Mass.
Put 1 million people in a field here. We call it Woodstock. It's not the same.
It's not the same. No.
But this is an annual thing, isn't it? There's a big movement for youth, isn't there?
Yeah. The World Youth Day is every 3 years, and the next one I believe is going to be in Panama. The one prior to this was in Rio, and John Paul II, had a great relationship with young people, and he began this celebration, and Pope Benedict continued it, and so has Pope Francis. And I'll tell you, when the kids see the Holy Father, they just go crazy. They're just in love with their faith in the Church. It's very uplifting.
And as an outsider, I think it's fair to say, though, after watching his Philadelphia visit on television, he has that kind of persona that attracts people, doesn't he?
He does, which is interesting because, as you know, I know there's always that temptation to compare. Benedict was an older man as the Holy Father, but John Paul II was in his late 50s when he first became Pope, and he was so energetic, and he moved around so quickly.
Well, he was the skier, right?
Right, exactly. Pope Francis is an older man, and it's not like he's not like a rock star up there jumping around. He's as steady as could possibly be. He walks. Sometimes he has a difficult time walking. So it's not like he's raising his arms and chanting. But he has a way when he speaks, he goes off of his text, and he gets human and funny and personal. And you can just tell he reads the hearts and he touches them by what he says.
You've met him a few times.
I've met him once in Rome, and I've been, of course, close to him when he was in the United States. We bishops had multiple opportunities to be in his presence and have him speak to us and all. But I personally met him when I was in Rome a couple of years ago.
Now, speaking of Rome, you're heading back there, aren't you?
Yeah, we're having another pilgrimage. It's not quite every year that we have a pilgrimage with the diocese. We went to the Holy Lands a while back, and we've gone to Fatima in Portugal and also in Lourdes, France. This time we're returning back to Italy and start in Venice and go through the city of Padua, St. Anthony of Padua, Siena, St. Catherine of Siena's hometown, Assisi, St. Francis of Assisi, and then we'll end up in Rome.
And, I thought I was good in the travel business with one busload. You're leading two.
We're leading two. We would rather have one. However, there's an enthusiasm. When we went to the Holy Lands, we had 120 people. That was our greatest challenge.
Yeah. That's listen. This it's a way to connect with your faith, isn't it?
It is. And this year, it's special because it's the year of mercy. It's the Jubilee year. And Rome has been gathering, I think, a few more pilgrims, if it's possible that they can bring in more pilgrims. But there's something special about the Holy Year and the Holy Doors. So our pilgrims will be able to go to all of those four main basilicas. And
the Year of Mercy, and what is your slogan? Father of
Mercy and Love is my
it's your year, then.
That's my motto. Exactly.
That's what I thought. Okay, so let's turn to more bricks and mortar kinds of things. You announced recently a rehabilitation, if you will. I guess that'd be the right word for it, for the cathedral. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the cathedral was built in 1901, and it was an average parish church until 1938, when the Diocese of Saginaw was established. And it was named the Cathedral of the diocese. In 1941, just a few years after that, they did some renovations, I'm sure, so in order to make it more of a cathedral for the diocese. And in those days, the bishop had a huge cathedra arranged in the sanctuary. And so they did a few minor things there in 1941. And then in 1978, they did a major restructuring of the inside, but it was mostly cosmetic and liturgical. That it really wasn't a whole lot in addressing the building itself in 1978. So that's almost 40 years ago. And this time, we know that the building needs some work. And also, I had to wait until the parish restructuring took place because I wasn't sure if St. Mary's Parish was going to remain a parish. And once it was established that it would, then I had to determine, do I want to keep the cathedral where it is on the east side of Saginaw? And I'm personally convinced of that. I just think it would have been for us, a mortal sin to remove our cathedral from the east side of Saginaw. That's where the Renaissance is taking place. That's where our people who are most in need live and reside.
And besides, they call it the Cathedral District.
Exactly. So this time around, we're going to renovate it in terms of welcomed air conditioning and heating system and all new wiring and things of that sort. So we're really giving the building, yes. Archbishop Carlson put a new roof on, the slate roof, just before I came here. So once that roof went on, and the building dried out, as it were, the plaster started to drop and peel and so on. So there's a lot of that kind of work to be done. And then we're going to restructure it a little bit in terms of the liturgy, a new altar and pews and things of that sort.
And the project will take how long?
They say 6 months because we're under roof the whole time. The only building that we're actually doing is we're adding a small addition to the cathedral that's going to house the lavatories. We're taking them out of the building itself. When you flush the toilet, you can hear it in the confessional. So,
okay.
we're putting a little addition there. So that's the only real construction. The rest of it is all interior work, and they say 6 months. So I'm hoping that our next Chrism Mass during Holy Week and Holy Week services will all be taking place in a revised cathedral.
Project starts when, or has it?
It has started. On the Labor Day weekend, they celebrated their last Masses there. We were, I don't know what we were thinking. We thought that we could continue to have Mass during the renovation. But then someone came up with the idea of St. Andrew's Church, which is standing there not so far away for occasional use, that we could take our Masses there. So that's where the people are worshiping since Labor Day. And right now, if you were to go in the cathedral, the upstairs is starting to be stripped. It's empty of all chairs and altar. The basement, where they're going to, a lot of the wiring and structural thing will take place. That's all opened up right now. So we're already in the midst of it.
Yeah, see, we're lucky in you. We can keep doing our radio shows while they tear apart our building. And
I saw that as I walked.
Or you can vote by tapping the app when you download the apps from the App Store and Google Play.
The Morning Team Show, weekdays 5:30 to 9 on WSGW.
Back with you here on a Friday morning on WSGW. My guest in studio, Bishop Joseph Cistone of the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw. So for a layman, explain to me what makes the cathedral different than any other church.
Sure. The word cathedral is Latin for seat, chair or seat. And it's associated with the bishop. So every diocese has a bishop, and the bishop has his own church. And it's from that seat that he leads and teaches. It's like we say the seat of government. So cathedral means the seat. So every diocese has that cathedral designated. And as I said, it's the bishop's church. I'm actually the pastor of the cathedral. Father Andy Booms, who actually runs the parish from day to day, is the rector of the cathedral, but I'm the pastor. In Rome, St. Peter's is not the Holy Father's cathedral.
Really?
No, St. John's Church, St. John Lateran, is the Pope's cathedral. And that's why many times he goes there for different services or ceremonies.
Well, is there a Bishop of Rome, or is the Pope also the Bishop of Rome?
The Pope is also the Bishop of Rome. And as the Bishop of Rome, he has preeminence over the other bishops. So that's his real appointment is Bishop of Rome. And as the Bishop of Rome, he's Pope. So so the cathedral, it's the center of the diocese. It shows the unity not only of our diocese, our various parishes as one, but it also connects us to the universal church. So it's a symbol that Saginaw just doesn't stand out here as an island. We are part of a church that's bigger than we are. And so it has a certain preeminence in every diocese. In most dioceses, the cathedrals now are, because they were always in the center of the city, many of the cathedrals are in the inner city. They used to be big parishes and so on, and like our own, it's not the same. You don't have the same kind of family structure around them. And then, of course, in other areas of the country, they're building brand new cathedrals. At Raleigh, North Carolina, my good friend Bishop Mike Burbidge, he's building a brand new cathedral there. Bishop Sticka in Knoxville, Tennessee, is in the process of completing a brand new cathedral there. So, because they see a migration of their people, the Catholic community is growing in the South. They were small at one time and had these little churches as their central church, as their cathedral, and now they're building newer ones.
The only thing that would concern me about that, if I were of that faith in that area, these old churches are Gothic in structure. I mean, they're gorgeous. Mm-hmm. You know, they're gorgeous building. The new ones, sometimes new buildings don't have any character, you know?
Yeah, and of course it's a matter of taste. And I've used the word renovation, and I've also used the word restoration of our cathedral. I think some people showed a little concern that by restoration, that meant I was going to bring it back to the pre-Vatican Council era, and that's the furthest thing from what we're doing. But our cathedral, its architectural structure, is really magnificent and beautiful, and I want to restore some of the architectural aspects of it through painting and highlighting, through woodworking, wainscoting, that were all a part of the original church. They don't affect the liturgy at all, but they do preserve that architectural design. If I may, I also say, when I take a group to Italy and to Rome, especially at St. Peter's, I always like to go in before them and stand at the doorway and watch all the pilgrims walk in, because the very first thing they do, their head and their eyes go way up in the air as they're trying to look and see, oh my gosh, how big this is. But that was the purpose of churches architecturally, to raise the hearts and minds of people from the world in which they live to heaven, which they need to consider the next life. So the building has a way of doing that, and architecturally they're built that way. And then when you start to renovate them sometimes, I think back in my home in Philadelphia, my father put a drop ceiling in and paneling on every wall. Do you know, that was the thing? That was the thing we did in those days.
Back those, yes.
So I think there's going to be some renovation to our cathedral, a little bit of restoration as well.
And then the next question, of course, is, gee, how are we paying for all of this? Huh?
Sure. The parish itself could never do it. I mean, it's not large enough parish to do that. And I did not think it was fair to just try and take monies that are immediately within the diocese. So I'm begging, as it were. I'm touching base with the people throughout the diocese and institutions throughout the diocese that I believe have the capacity to assist me. And whatever they're giving and pledging, they're pledging specifically to the cathedral. These are the same people, though, that I go to for education, I go to for the poor, and I'm making it clear that I want them to maintain what it is that they're doing. I'm asking what can they do over and above that. So all the dollars that I'm receiving are specifically for that purpose.
And I've known you for quite some time now, but you've been pretty frugal with the dollars. You've actually been putting some away, haven't you?
Yeah,
as much as you could, within reason.
I think that's true. I do. I'm fiscally conservative normally in my own life, and I've been very careful. I have not been spending money and within the diocese. I try to dispense. We just recently dispersed almost $400,000, over $380,000 of our little books profits to our schools again. It's the second time I did it. 2 years ago, we distributed over $1 million to the schools.
Those are amazing.
I know.
They just keep going.
That's right. But so everything has its compartment, as it were. And yes, I've been very, very careful of spending of money.
And what's been the reaction of the congregation?
Well, the people from the cathedral parish are thrilled. The people
the air conditioning,
the air conditioning alone, but they've been watching the paint and plaster fall from on their heads and literally, and but the people that I'm going to ask for their support are very, very enthused and supportive of this. Otherwise, they wouldn't be giving me their funds. So I think there's an excitement. There are certainly some people among us who say, why are you doing this? Any penny you have, should go in another direction. But I'm not taking money from those other areas. This is an additional funding, and I'm excited about it because I think when people walk into our cathedral, they're going to be very, very pleased with what they experience there. And
you're hoping for conclusion of the construction when?
Well, they're saying it's going to be about 6 months because we're not doing much construction. Right. It's mostly inside work. We don't have to worry about rain or weather. So they're saying within 6 months, and I'm hoping that our Chrism Mass, our main Chrism Mass, which was on TV and on the air last year during Holy Week, I'm hoping that all of our Holy Week services will be in the cathedral.
If Bishop Carlson hadn't put the roof on, would you be doing this now, or would you be worrying about the roof?
Well, I'd have to. Yeah, the first thing I would have been worrying about the roof. He had when I came, they showed me plans. He had a much broader plan to do. They were going to put a whole new additional building on for gathering of, social gatherings and all. And at that time, I was told it was about an $8 million project. Today, it would probably be over $10 million or so. He knew he could not do that. That was his thinking in the future. And so he put his efforts into putting that new roof on, and we're grateful for that. It preserved the building tremendously.
But even by today's standards, it's going to cost you some money to do this, right?
Yeah, we're figuring between $3.5 million and $4 million, and a lot of the work, like over $250,000 of the work, is parking lot. So that's why I'm watching. I'll do what I need to do first if I'm short in funds, but I was worried about that, but as I'm moving forward and talking to people, their enthusiasm is keeping me going. I think I'm very optimistic we're going to do this very, very well.
So in this day and age, do we worry about technology? Do we put in Wi-Fi and all those good things in a church?
Absolutely. There will be because we do more filming and TV work there. There's going to be stationary cameras there. I don't know the technical terms, but outside the building, there's going to be a box for the TV state media to plug into so that they can feed off of all of the internal cameras without having to come and walk around the inside of the cathedral. Our sound system is going to be state-of-the-art, especially for those who are hard of hearing. It'll be adjusted that way. And there's a lot of things that are bringing us into into the...
Peppers will take it at the 47. He's at the 50. He breaks a tackle at the 20 to the 15, 10.
I told you.
He's in. Jabril Peppers.
I told you he's going to do it.
53 yards. Punt return. Score.
Now the 4th-ranked Wolverines begin Big Ten Conference play this Saturday when Penn State visits the Big House. Due to programming conflicts, coverage begins at 2:30 p.m. on our sister station Mix 106.3 FM. Michigan football is brought to you by Lingle Equipment, BP Express Stop, and Wolffiles Ace Hardware in Saginaw. Michigan battles Penn State live Saturday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. on Mix 106.3 FM.
The Wolverines play on WSGW. He describes himself as a militant moderate, blending news and interviews. He's Jim Bohannon, live weeknights at 10 on WSGW.
Back with you on the Art Lewis Show. Just a couple of program notes for you. Farm Director Terry Henney travels back in time today as he previews the River of Time Living History Encampment in Bay City coming up this weekend. He'll broadcast from 11 to 1 from Veterans Memorial Park, sponsored by the Bay County Historical Society. You can find out more at riveroftime.org. And tomorrow, I'll be in Midland from 9 to noon, supporting the Walk to End Alzheimer's. I'll be at Emerson Park, sponsored by Wolverine Bank. Wolverine Bank, Strength Solutions and Trusted. And Sue Smith will be there doing the emceeing for the walk. So that is tomorrow. In studio with me, Bishop Joseph Cistone of the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw. We got a call for the bishop, and this is June in Essexville. June, you're on with Bishop Cistone. Good morning.
Hi, June. Good morning. How are you? Thanks for listening from Essexville. Sure. I mean, it's history. You don't change history. Sometimes, as an example, people have been baptized and they have a godmother and godfather, and then they don't like them anymore, so they want to change their godmother and godfather. Well, you can't go in and change history. History is history. You know, when I was first assigned to Saginaw, my home parish wanted to give me a going-away gift. One of the gifts they gave me was a relic of St. John Newman, but they also gave me a picture of St. Joseph holding the child Jesus. And the reason they did it was because they looked up the history and realized that St. Joseph Church was the mother church of the area at that time. So no, but I mean, history doesn't change. But as we move forward, and our populations change and our demographics change, we have to really adjust ourselves appropriately.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening. Thanks for your faithfulness too. Essexville and St. Jude Thaddeus Parish there, which has combined a few of the parishes in the area, is doing a wonderful job. Father Dale's a great pastor, and
Mm-hmm. Very good. June, thank you.
June, thanks. Thanks for your call. God bless you.
Take care. Bye-bye now. Quick break. We'll come back and have more with Bishop Joseph Cistone.
Talk about a bargain hunter's dream come true? You gotta be talking about Martin Chevrolet's model year closeout sale. Hi, this is Bill Martin. New shipments of 2017s are being delivered daily, so our remaining inventory of 2016 models have gotta go. Make this your opportunity to save big on the most awarded new cars and trucks, like the newly styled Chevy Malibu from just $159 a month, and that's with no money down. Bring us your trade-in and the price drops to $119 a month. Or check out the tech-savvy, fuel-efficient Chevy Cruze. Choose from the area's best selection at Martin Chevrolet with zero down, starting at $139 a month or just $99 a month with your minimum trade. With hundreds of new Chevrolets to choose from, you're sure to find the right car or truck at the right price right now. But you gotta hurry before the 2016 closeout models are gone. Head to Martin Chevrolet on Gratiot Road in Saginaw.
Payments based on qualifying GMS 24-month low-mileage lease with lease loyalty on select tag vehicles excluding tax, title, license fee. See dealer for qualifying details. Chevrolet, find new roads.
Hi, I'm Ray Cairns with Bayer. You probably know us for aspirin, but we're a complete life science company. Bayer is a trusted brand in the United States, known to millions of Americans. In fact, 2/3 of American households bought a Bayer product in the last year. We've been in the United States for more than 150 years because America is the best country in the world for innovation. Bayer is the only company with expertise in pharmaceuticals, consumer health, and agriculture. and there's no more important time than now to be in agriculture. Our researchers work every day to develop new technology to help farmers protect plants from disease and drought. These solutions will help America's farmers feed the world. We're proud of Bayer's trusted reputation, and our future is bright in America. We will continue to bring scientific innovations to improve the lives of people, plants, and pets all throughout this great country. To learn more, visit us at bayer.us.
The season of family gatherings and company get-togethers is coming, and Sullivan's Black Forest in Frankenmuth is the ideal location for your next banquet or party. Sullivan's can serve small groups and parties for showers, rehearsal dinners, Christmas parties, and business meetings, as well as weddings, large corporate events, and family reunions, and offering many menu options in addition to buffet-style meals. For more information or to book your next event, call 989-652-6060.
RocketGrab.com launches another deal.
The creators of Haunted Elementary are back, and they're ready to scare you with 3 frightening sights. And with today's deal, you get 1 zombie combo of Haunted Elementary, Fright Sight, and Outbreak at Bridgeport Gore Grounds. A $24 value, only $10 from the creators of Haunted Elementary.
RocketGrab.com.
It's the WSGW Grand in Your Hand contest. Your chance to win $1,000 cash 5 times a day, each weekday for 5 weeks. A total cash giveaway of $125,000. It's an Alpha Media Company-wide contest. Listeners are playing and listeners are winning.
My name is Gwendolyn, and I just won $1,000.
Hey, this is Nick, and I just won $1,000.
This is a text-to-win contest. You listen 5 times a day, 10 a.m., noon, 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m. When you hear the keyword, you need to text 77000 within 5 minutes for your chance to get into the random drawing. Text and data rates apply. You must be 18 years of age or older to play.
This is Shandell, and I just won $1,000. Woo!
The WSGW Grand in Your Hand contest. For information and rules, visit WSGW.com. Putting a grand in your hand. This is WSGW.
You can interact with WSGW on Facebook. Find us at facebook.com/WSGW Radio.
Back with you here on WSGW, Art Lewis, and my guest in studio, Bishop Joseph Cistone of the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw. We have another call. This is Rita in Bay City. Rita, good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to ask the bishop if he would further explain what the inside of the cathedral will look like when the remodeling is finished. Like, will it be all pews with kneelers, and will the altar be like I consider it now among the people, or is it going to be moved back as it originally was?
Well, good morning, Rita. Thanks for your call. There will be pews with kneelers, and towards the front of the cathedral there will be some movable chairs because the cathedral has various different celebrations and ceremonies that require a little more space sometimes than rather than a normal church. However, I don't know when the last time you were in the cathedral, but the altar has been in the sanctuary for something like 6 years now. I had moved the altar there at the time that I was ordaining 4 new priests, and we realized we did not have enough space. We were using all of the space in the center for that altar setup, and we didn't have enough space for the families and all the people to come. So I had written a letter to the parishioners and said, if they don't mind, I'm going to be moving the altar back to the sanctuary area a bit so that we can be able to use more space down there. And that's where it's been for the last about 6 years, I guess. So where it is now is the location that the new altar will be situated in, and it gives us a greater opportunity to seat more people in the cathedral.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. God bless.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye now. The interior of the altar, how many people can be seated in there normally?
I'm not. I would say down on the lower section, probably 500 to 600. And then you have the choir section. The difficulty is with the chairs is that, first of all, there are no kneelers, and also after every ceremony, you've got to straighten out the chairs. It just never it's not practical for the size and how we use the cathedral. But also, it gives the people the opportunity to kneel. When Bishop Carlson was here prior to my coming, he had put out a directive that parishes, when doing any kind of renovations and so on, were to install kneelers again as they were in the past. And a number of the parishes have already done that. Whenever they're doing interior work, they're considering that. And so that's why I'm doing it.
So are you putting in new pews, or are you refinishing what's in there?
There are no pews. They're chairs.
Oh, there's all chairs. The entire church is...
The entire church is chairs now.
See, that's the part I didn't know, because I was upstairs and that was different.
So they are new pews. And we looked around the diocese for some of our closed churches where we could possibly take pews and redo them. But because of the dimensions and so on, we weren't able to find anything to do it. So we're working with AM, religious goods area, and some local carpenters and so on who are doing all the woodworking and providing pews and things of that sort.
And we had an interesting call earlier from June, but how did the consolidation work out? I mean, when you did that and you had a vision of what was going to happen and you included everybody, now that you can sit back and look at it, how has it worked for you?
Well, again, it's challenging. There's no doubt about it. It's challenging for people who have become so accustomed to a particular parish church or a place of worship. But it's absolutely necessary. We had 105 separate parishes. Today we have 56. We have 29 additional churches that have masses on weekends. But I have less than 40 active diocesan priests. And in the whole Thumb area, I only have one retired priest who serves as a sacramental minister. So even if I were to put pastoral administrators in parishes in the Thumb, I don't have priests close enough, and we're relying on our retired priests. So I can't be asking our 80-year-old priest to be driving out to the Thumb every day. So we're not out of the woods yet. Even with all of this merging, we are not out of the woods. We're addressing it by vocations, and I'm proud we've had new vocations every year since I've been here. We have a new man going into seminary this year as well. And in time, it will probably level itself out, but we're still going through a transitional time.
Well, Bishop, thank you for visiting with us today.
Art, it's always a pleasure.
Enjoy your trip to Rome, Venice particularly. Both of us want to go see Venice.
Yeah.
So we'll have to keep tabs on you and talk to you when you come back. The Bishop will be here on December 23rd, our annual Christmas visit. And by then we'll find out how the trip was to Venice and Rome.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you
Thanks,
very much.
friend. Good to talk to you.
Bishop Joseph Cistone of the Catholic Diocese of Saginaw, we thank him very much for joining us here on WSGW. We will take a break and come back and close out the hour.